Hey everyone, just before we dive into this episode, I wanted to let you guys know there were some technical difficulties whilst we were broadcasting this. So around about an hour into this episode, there will be just a sudden cut that doesn't really make a lot of sense. And then around about an hour after that, there is a second cut because I was having issues with my router. So apologies in advance for that fucked up production quality, for lack of a better phrase. However, I have seemingly resolved it, so it shouldn't occur in the future. TLDR, my router's just getting a bit old, so I had to replace it with one that I had laying around anyway, and it seems to have stabilized, so all should be good in that front. But once again, apologies. Hope you enjoy the episode. There's still a good 2 hours of content, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 33 of the Fully Rendered Podcast. And we have a...
33?
Hey?
Episode 33?
Did I say 33?
You said 33, I think.
Did I?
You said 33. Zero.
Oh, right. Okay. I was going to say, stop confusing me, you bastard. How dare you? Get out of it. I now no longer feel guilty for making you shit your pants.
I made you shit my pants today.
But yes, welcome to episode 30 of the Fully Rendered Podcast. We've got a somewhat stacked show today. It's not stacked in terms of topics, but stacked in terms of what we're going to be talking about. Should we just jump straight into the first topic?
Yeah.
No, let's talk about what we've been playing.
What we've been playing? Okay.
What we've been playing?
What you've been playing then,
What have you
Peachy?
been playing?
What have I been playing?
What are you playing, Peachy?
You haven't played
Peachy
any
wants to
video
talk about what
games
he's been
since-
playing.
I've been playing Abiotic Factor, and I fucking love it.
Okay.
It's so good. Imagine Half-Life did a survival crafting game, but somehow they managed to you know, survival crafting games, they have mechanics and then they have the world it's in, the theme, and it's just like it's got that tacked on. This is so like simpatico together. It's basically Half-Life, the survival crafting game. There are so many references to Half-Life in it, and it looks and feels like areas of Black Mesa and stuff. And you're a scientist, and you get there's a lockdown situation because I think the company is called Cascade. There hasn't been a Residence Cascade, but it's called Cascade. The aliens are just appearing out of portals and stuff, and you go to an alien world where you can get more resources and things like that. And it's just brilliant. I have been streaming this since Thursday. The embargo lifted Wednesday, but I wasn't streaming Wednesday. But not only have I streamed it every day till now, after I finished stream, when I made some food, me and my friends have also been playing it.
Nice.
Yeah, I started this game on Thursday and I already have 23.6 hours in the game.
Nice.
And I've been streaming for 3 days now. It's amazing.
It's
early access.
Early access. Okay.
No, it's early access, but I'm not sure why it's early access. Maybe they want to put a bit more polish on it, but it's pretty fucking polished. And I can't speak for the end game content because I'm only 20 odd hours in.
Right.
But it's still going. Like I keep unlocking new areas. It's basically, instead of going to a new area, a new map outside or whatever, it's a new area of the science facility, which is like all underground and shit.
Right.
So I just found this brand new area, manufacturing, and I'm wandering around which all these areas are quite huge. Like it's labyrinthian at points. Oh, and it's got these weird Souls-like thing where you unlock a door and you can come back the other way.
Right.
And you can go that way, so it's a bit quicker to get where you need to go.
Shortcuts.
And as I'm wandering around this new area I found another 2 areas which are through this area. And I'm like, I haven't explored the other. It's huge.
Right.
And there is some weird cosmic horror vibe going on in certain places. It's pretty funny. The voice acting, let's say the actual voice actors stand out. But this is, it's an indie game with voice acting. This game is 20 quid. I think it's like 15 quid at the moment because they got a deal on.
Right. Does it have like the quality of life stuff that you would hope for with survival, like crafting? It pulls it from your storage and sorting and stuff like that, or
They've turned it into a mechanic. You can upgrade your bench to do that.
right? Okay.
Which is pretty cool. There's loads of stuff that I hate about survival crafting and games in general, like mini games. I'm like, what's the point? There's mini games in here. They have tangible things for doing it.
Right.
Like you have to poo in the game.
Okay.
And there's a mini game to poo, and there's this little barn. You got to get it in the green bit, and you underneath it says ease passage.
What happens if you miss?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like
You spend longer on the toilet.
okay.
So if you want to do all these things fast, you do the mini games.
Reading
you
a
get that
shampoo
out of the
bottle.
way faster.
So you lose and then you have bowel issues.
No, you just it just takes longer. You just have to sit there.
You're constipated at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you just want to poo and not do anything, it'll just do it eventually. There's a sleeping mini game.
You
where
you
try
messed
and
up
jump
the
over monsters. Oh,
The monsters?
yeah. So the way they unlock new tech and stuff, too, because you're a scientist, you invent things, right? Because you're a scientist. But the way they do it is when you find a new ingredient or something, you'll unlock you'll unlock. They're called ideas. You can also get them from getting certain levels in, stats and fields that you're good at.
Right.
But you'll get these ideas, and then you go to your working bench, or actually you can just do it in your normal inventory. But you've got to try and figure out. You have an idea that says vacuum, right? And then you've got all this stuff like ingredients, and it'll say, oh, we want 3 ingredients, and then it'll give you like 7 ingredients. And then you'd be like, oh, it's a vacuum, so I probably want a pipe. I'll need like an electric coil or something and some gaffer tape. And you drag them in to try and work through the idea.
Right. Right.
And then when you get it, just like, boom, you've invented the vacuum. Or you'll get it wrong and you'll be like, oh, I'll have to think about this. Maybe I don't want gaffer tape. Maybe just glue will help. It's thematically works really well with the mechanics of the game. And the care and attention that's in the game, and this is early access, this is not 1.0, is there. And there's just cute little things that they just kind of tweak, and it's I am actually loving another survival crafting game.
Oh, I love that.
It's the year
It
of
looks
survival.
cute.
Apparently, well, there's a lot of survival crafting games because it's here's some tried and tested mechanics. Punch a tree, eat some food. Do you know what I mean? And then game developers can be like, okay, I can focus on the stuff, right? And then there's the game. And I understand why there's a lot of survival crafting, but they've been like, no, we're making a survival crafting game that is science based. And you can get radiation and stuff, and you've got to treat that or contain it in a different area in your base.
Is there an overarching story, or is it just like go make things and
the arcing story is it's your first day, and you go down, and they're like, okay, you do your intro of like, here is the facility and how you do stuff at how we work here, which is your tutorial, right?
Right.
Pretty short. Then you get in the lift, and it's like, oh, go down to Hab, find your room, and see you at work tomorrow. But as you go down, there's a lockdown that happens, and it sends you like all the way down to like a certain level, like the bottom level or something like that. You're like stuck there. You can't get out. You find these other scientists around, and they're either dead or they're hiding from the monsters or the military that have come in to try and sort out the situation. The arcing story is you're trying to get out of this facility.
Right. Okay. Do you have like boss fights and stuff like that then, or have you not come across any yet?
No, but there's a lot of combat actually, and it's actually nuanced and difficult.
Right.
Like you need the right tools to do stuff, and then you can invent new tools to make that stuff basically easy for you eventually.
Right.
But the way it's scaled so far, it's like, oh, I can deal with them. They're no problem now because of all the things I know. Like I've got tactics to deal with them, and now I have items to deal with them. And then there's a new monster, and then it's difficult again. You have to try and deal with it in some way until you think of an idea. It's just brilliant, and more people need to play it. It is currently overwhelmingly positive on Steam.
It looks pretty cool.
What game is this again?
It's called Abiotic Factor.
Abiotic Factor.
Survival crafting Half-Life.
It does look pretty nifty. I'll have to give it a ganders. How much did you
It's
say it
only
was?
$20.
It's currently like 15 or 16 quid.
So for USD 20.
Around about.
Yeah, something like that. $20. I think $25.
Oh, it's 25 when it's not, because they're doing the introductory offer.
Yeah, so it's on the low end of indie games like this, but the quality is like, oh yeah, I would pay the higher end of indie games for this. But it's easy for me to say that because I was given a key for it, so I didn't have to buy it.
The last game they made was Unfortunate Spaceman. So they are spacemen rather.
Okay, so there's references to games in here, and you can. I found these arcade machines. I'm picking them up, and I'm like, I'm gonna decorate my base. And then there was one that was Unfortunate Spaceman, which I have, which is just a lot of fun. And I was like, oh, cool! There's a little reference. They actually made that game, huh?
Yeah, it's free as well.
Yeah, Unfortunate Spaceman.
Yeah,
got a lot of people.
That's cool. How about you, Paul? What have you been playing?
I picked up. I did a stream last week for a game called Once Human. I was given a key for the closed beta, and that's another survival crafting game. It was pretty buggy, and the server I was in at the time was pretty empty. So I have to come back to that a little bit later. So I'm gonna withhold my opinions on that. But I did start playing Stellar Blade. I almost call it Astral Blade. Very, very how do I say? Okay.
Nier Automata?
Yes. So I was saying last night, I think one of the biggest, you could tell there's a lot of influence to Nier Automata, and I think like something like how stylized it is.
It's the same music as well. Same studio that did it.
It's not the same composer. But it is his studio.
Yeah.
So it sounds very similar, and I think one of the mistakes that the development team did is they did themselves a disservice by drawing so much influence from Nier Automata that unfortunately the comparisons are just naturally going to come.
Yeah.
And while coming over from Sekiro, because I beat that just the other day, it did take me a little bit of time to like readjust my the controls, because going from the Souls game, which everything's on the R1 R2, it took me a second with that, but parry is on the same button, so I was like, oh shit, we're ready to go.
Nice.
However, because of I do feel it's like an unfair comparison. It's where how tight Souls games are usually when it comes to their combat, and especially Sekiro with the pairing. There is sometimes I'm noticing how big people keep saying how great the combat was, and I think my expectations were set too high for that, because I kind of think it's a little bit lackluster in that aspect. It's very generic.
How far in the game are you? Because I heard it opens up quite a bit as you progress.
I'm about I could easily pull it up. Let's say 6 hours.
All right. Okay. Do you have a gun yet?
Be safe. I do. I have the gun, and I don't use it very often.
Right.
But like, there's no mini map, so like half the time when I'm looking around, I just got to the wasteland area, and I've been I was doing a bunch of side quests yesterday, so I haven't really advanced the story too much yesterday. But most of what I was doing, because there's no mini map, and the way the HUD's set up is you have a scan and it'll bring up the compass on top, and then it fades away until you use the scan again, which is kind of it's a little annoying to me, because when we talk about comparing to Nier Automata, there is a mini map at all times. So when I'm looking around, I'm constantly swiping up swiping up right here to like to check the map again, and it's just a constant switching back and forth, and it's a little bit like quality of life isn't there with that. The story, I haven't gotten really too in depth of where exactly it's going, so I'm just like throwing out my own theories right now of I don't know, because I'm trying to draw from, again, bringing up the near comparisons, I'm drawing from the comparisons of that, and it's like, where are we going to go, like philosophical like that, or what's going to happen? I'm still convinced I'm an android.
Right.
I don't think it makes any other sense. But one of the funniest things someone pointed out last night, every character in this game does not look like they belong in the same game. You have the dude who looks like he's from Death Stranding. The girl with the
I'm
short hair
looking at the footage thinking that exact same thing that you just
doesn't
said.
it? The guy looks like he's from Death Stranding. The girl looks like Bayonetta. The main girl looks like Bayonetta. And then the girl with the short hair looks like something out of like Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy.
Right.
And it's such an interesting design choice of the game. It's fun. It is fun. I know the costume changes, no like stat increases. It is all fashion.
There's a lot of them as well, like 38 or something stupid. Like,
I have a few of them, and half of them is just it's funny how like it's just more of a game of like how inappropriate can we get.
right.
Yeah. Like I just unlocked one. It said something like the orca suit or whatever. And it's just this deep thong on her where it's going all the way up her torso. And I'm like, God damn, you're like flossing your vagina. Jesus Christ.
That's South Korea though for you, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and everything moves. The jiggle physics are uncanny.
Right.
So it's a fun game. But like I said, the I think a lot of the references kind of, or the inspiration kind of gives it a little bit of a disservice, because like unfortunately my brain keeps going like, oh well, in this game instead. But from what I understand, this developer only did a mobile game before, so
Yes.
considering that for what it is, the game is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've heard similar that the game overall is like, it's a fun game, but it's not a compelling game. It's the sort of game where you go, I had a great time with that, but you wouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna have memories of this game forever, kind of thing. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Well, part of like what I've been playing is, so the pod that's flying around you, it's the guy in the game. So it's him like controlling the pod. It's not the same as like Nier Automata, where like it's, you're an android and that's like your companion.
Yeah.
So he's like controlling it from the ship. And one of the things I said last night was like, this game suffers from a lot of stating the obvious and at the most inappropriate times. So like at one point I was doing a jumping puzzle, and it was when they were going to do the tutorial to tell you that you can dash in the air.
Right.
And most games would be like, oh, that looks like too far of a jump. Did you know you could dash? Like you kind of prime the player like, hey, just so you know. No, what this game did is I missed the jump, and he's like, uh-oh, it looks like that's too far to jump. Did you know you could dash? I'm like, why didn't you tell me sooner? Why did you what if I fell to my death, sir? Like, it was just such a silly like comment. And then there was I did a side quest where this tiny little anime girl goes like, I had my bike and I was collecting things from the wasteland, and I got attacked, so I had to abandon my bike. Can you go get my stuff and see if my bike's still there?
Right.
So I'm like, cool, got it. Like, pretty standard like anime side quest, right? I go out and homeboy in the pod goes, hey, look, her bike is here. Do you think she left it here? No, that's not at all why she told me to come get it.
Not at all.
Like,
no, it's not even her bike.
Not at all. Wow, crazy. Why do you think she left her bike here? Because she told us she got attacked and she left it, and that's why we went to go look for it in the first place. So it's a lot of like stating the obvious, and the fact that the characters have very flat line deliveries, so it just kind of comes off like almost like a little. Let's say I'm not a big fan of him.
Right. That's something I wanted to ask about, because obviously I've heard the combat for like yourself have heard the combat is actually supposed to be like quite fun. The story is kind of whatever, but the voice acting is supposed to be quite.
It's
bad.
very fun. All the girls are British, apparently.
Okay. So you're playing with English then, rather than the South Korean.
Well, I figured I would, because sometimes like I talk over and it's just a little safer. Because when I was playing Sekiro, I was playing in Japanese, because I felt like, considering the setting,
yeah,
kind of like with Ghost of Tsushima, it felt more natural to keep the Japanese
More
voice
immersive
acting.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And in this game, I just wanted to just let's see how flat it actually is. And I guess the alternative would probably be Korean. So I could probably check that out.
I've
But
heard
it
they're
is
both quite like.
Oh, I didn't know. I
Yeah.
haven't tested Korean yet, but I don't know the standard for when it comes to because I don't play a lot of Korean games, so I don't know whether the standard is for their voice acting in comparison to when we play Japanese games. There's I mean it's come around a lot more in the states, statewise, but in it was always when you compare Japanese or anime back in the 90s and how the varied difference in the quality of voice acting. It's obvious there's obviously been a huge improvement, but it was always taken more seriously in Japan because that's more of an art form for them.
Right.
So I don't know. I haven't tested it in Korean, so I haven't seen how flat it is in Korean. But in English, it's quite terrible.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Do you feel
quite
it
terrible.
detracts from the game, or do you just kind of go, yeah, whatever, I'm just going to hit things?
I mean, because I kind of going in not now that I already knew that part about it. Everything else when it comes to the story, I'm completely blind. But I think because the game just kind of comes off just silly and unserious as it is, that it doesn't really detract from me. Because whenever. Because I had someone come in and ask if this was the Nier Automata killer, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Right,
it's not. Because I am a fan of the Nier franchise. However, in comparison with that game, there's clearly the writing team put a lot of focus on what they were trying to accomplish, and and the same with they took it just as seriously when it came to the voice acting. So clearly they treated those projects like something that were they had a certain quality they were trying to accomplish. So in this game, it doesn't feel like that. It just feels like they were just, I don't want to say it sounds like they're phoning in half of the time, but there's a lot of set up plot devices that come in where they're just very convenient. Where it's I come in, we saw the old man with the Oracle. He's called Orcal.
Right.
It's spelled Orcal, and I came in with this alpha core that I got from one of the first alpha nativas, and they're like, well, if you collect 4 of these, you can find the elder one or the one that I'm trying to.
Question.
That's my mission to go after.
This is a Korean game, right?
Yes.
You're saying everything seems very on the nose. Do you think some things are lost in translation and there's not any nuance?
That's what I'm wondering too. Probably. I'm just judging based off of what I've been presented. So that's why I'm saying when it comes to Nier Automata and the way the story is written in that, and it draws so heavily from philosophy. Philosophers, there's characters and machines that are named after them. There's a message they're trying to deliver to you as the player. And if you actually when you play through the whole game, you can kind of gather what they're trying to tell you. I don't want to spoil anything. This game though, it's just very from point A to point B. Half the time I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
But like I said, it's you go to this area. If you collect 4 of these, you'll be able to unlock this drive and it'll take you to the next area that you need to go. It's very very, very RPG. It feels very shallow. And there's nothing wrong with that. I for what it is, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm just not I'm not treating it as serious as it. Because I don't think it wants to be treated as seriously. Just with the costumes and the character, I just I'm unlocking onesies with bunnies, with bunny ears on them. It's the game clearly does not want to be treated or taken as seriously as something like Nier Automata. I think it just they're paying homage in their own ways, and like I said,
Nier fan fiction.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean. But with all the taking all that into account, it's a fun game. I don't think it's going to be anything. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking, breaking rather. I would like to get through the story so I can actually like report on that if it's even worth like checking out in that aspect.
Right.
Because like, you know, again, sorry, I don't mean to draw the comparison back, but with Automata, like I would recommend people play that because of like what the story experience is actually like, what it's like to actually play that game.
Mm.
Even if you don't like anime games, like if the story in that game is so good that that it is a unique experience that I think a lot of people would enjoy.
Is it
This one's just
PlayStation
so
only? Or console only?
this one, yes.
Right. I was just trying to
Yeah,
see,
this
I
one,
could see it on
from what
Steam. But
I read somewhere, so I haven't been able to confirm this yet, but from what I understand, it wasn't originally going to be PlayStation exclusive, but PlayStation fronted a lot of the funding
right.
in order to achieve exclusivity. And that's why the game is as big as it is.
Right.
I think it was going to, I would be interested to see what the original intention behind it was before Sony got intervened.
Okay, that's interesting. I heard I've forgotten his name, but the chap who created Nier Automata has played this, and he was like, "Yeah, I like it."
No,
Hot
he
lady.
likes it. He also he's a man who likes his girls.
Yeah,
He
true.
said that many times.
So, would you, from what you've played so far, then overall recommend it thus far? We'll probably follow up in a later episode. See if
I'm
you
gonna
really.
follow up. I'm gonna follow up with my final thoughts. However, right now I am enjoying it. I don't know. I bought the digital deluxe version, and I don't know if I would recommend.
I was gonna say, what does that get
paying
you?
$80. I guess I got costumes. I don't know what I got.
Fair.
I'd have to check that
Is
actually.
that where the thong flossing came from?
I believe a lot of the costumes are just in the game, from what I've heard.
Well, I guess there's some censorship.
Oh, let's not go
as
into
well.
let's not get into that discourse. That discourse is so monumentally stupid.
I know.
I hated that discourse.
It's so goofy.
One side's like, oh, censorship, and the other one's like, boobs are bad. It's just like, shut up.
Both of you are wrong.
Yeah, it's just like, get over it.
Be normal. Stop screaming.
Yeah. Oh god, that discourse is.
Okay, I'm looking up the digital deluxe. What does it give me? I guess it gave me currency, sunglasses, a stargazer pack for the drone, which I have never gotten, and like costumes. Where the hell did I didn't get my costumes?
Rude.
From the mailbox.
Yeah, it'll be something silly like that, won't it? That's usually how they deliver
they're just
it.
costumes, earrings for Eve, half rim glasses for Eve, stargazer pack for the drone, 5,000 gold in-game currency, 2,000 SP experience, and then 3 costumes. The costumes look like something from Mankind Divided.
Okay. Interesting. Cool. Well, should we start talking about Tarkov? Because I haven't played any games. I've been catching up on TV shows and anime and stuff. So.
Oh, he's been feet all cocooned in his bed watching anime.
Pretty much. Yeah.
What have you been watching?
I've been watching. I've got the first 3 episodes of Fallout out of the way. I've been watching. I watched a movie the other day and I can't remember what it was. Nani? I can't remember. But I also saw the last 3 episodes of Shogun. I can't remember if that was before last episode or not. That's a phenomenal show. If you haven't watched it,
I mean to watch that.
Absolutely watch it. It's such a good show.
Yeah. You know what I just finally got around to watching was Edge Runners. It took me this long to finally.
Did you like it?
I finally watched it.
Did you like it?
You played a bunch of the game as well, right?
Yeah.
How, it's a stupid thing, and it's probably just fan service, but how cool is it to see areas in the game in the show?
It's like it's Lizzie's bar. I'm really glad I waited. Because I'm really enjoying it. But I have to go back and watch it because I sometimes turn it on when I'm on the treadmill and I'm more listening to than anything.
Right.
So I have to go back and actually sit down and watch it. But every once in a while I'll check it out and it's so fucking fun. I love it.
It is a very good show. It's probably one of my favorite shows in a very long time.
Yeah, I can't believe I waited this long to finally check it out.
I was 3 or 4 episodes in before it got too anime for me, but I enjoyed the first 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, it's very anime.
I mean,
but it works.
Yeah, I think it works quite well. I remember when I finished
it. I feel like Cyberpunk's kind of anime-esque, like the concepts.
Oh yeah, because it's usually got some. You're right there, Peach. You're just getting assaulted
Yeah,
by your
everything's
mic.
just broke. Don't worry about me.
His mic stand for audio listeners just tried to assault him by taking him out in the face. What the hell? Oh, clamp came off. Okay. Yeah,
This clamp is weight. I used WD-40 on it, and now my mic isn't heavy enough for a Shure SM7B arm, apparently.
right. I see.
How much do they weigh? Jesus. Carry
I
on,
don't
sorry.
know.
That's cool.
How much does mine weigh?
Yeah, I was gonna say your beacon would be about the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I watched Edrunners, there were certain songs in the soundtrack that have stayed with me since watching that show, and I regularly listen to them. The soundtrack was so good. Some of the soundtrack is obviously from
the
the
opening
game as well.
song is like, I was running earlier and the opening came out. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah, like
this is fun as hell.
You speed up.
No, I sped up every time.
the song where he's like walking to go pick up his stuff through the town, and it's and he's like jumping off the steps and stuff like that.
Does it use the same soundtrack from the game?
Some of the tracks are from the game, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, that would depend on whether or not you had streamer mode enabled and whatnot, because there's two
that's
soundtracks
true.
technically. But yeah, it's got a lot of the songs from the game. There's other tracks that are just for the show, and some of those really stand out, and you're like, "Fuck, this is good." There's two that I've got on like pretty much every playlist I listen to, but they also have like that they tie into certain scenes as well. And you're like, oh no, not this scene kind of thing. You end up having like PTSD, like a Vietnam flashback, and you're in the fetal position, like, oh, kind of thing. But yeah, such a phenomenal show. If you haven't watched it, people in the chat, people listening at home, do check out Edrunners. It's such a good show. I was trying to think, what else have I watched? It's all a blur. I've been watching Solo Leveling, which is pretty cool. If you're an anime fan, if you like a bit of action, and it's kind of like an isekai / not quite an isekai. Like a guy is essentially like reborn, and he can see games.
And isekai is the Ready Player One type anime, right?
So isekai is technically being like reborn, or obviously or reincarnated, or transported somehow to another world.
Okay.
In this case, the guy hasn't been transported so much to another world. He's actually come back from like doing some dungeoning, which is all like instanced, and he can see things that other people can't see. Like he can see like game UI, and it's actually like attached to his life. So he's actively leveling up, and no one else knows like how he's become so more powerful and stuff like that. But he's got like this UI that pops up in front of him. So it's not a game world, but his life is a game kind of thing. It's kind of weird, but it's really good action, really good animation rather. Definitely worth a watch. Aside from that, I think I'm just going to be binging. Oh, I'll soon be watching Godzilla -1, so I'll probably have that watched by next episode, because I've been meaning to see that for quite some time, because that's available for streaming now. But yeah, should we jump into Tarkov?
Yes.
Right. So, for those who are not familiar, Escape from Tarkov is a extraction shooter. It's a very hyper-realistic game. You would basically play in instanced areas. You have to pick up loot, and that loot you can then craft into weapons or update your weapons, both in the actual instance, and also when you extract out of the instance, you can upgrade the things in your base essentially.
And if you die in the game, you die in real life.
Yes, and if you die in the game, you die in real life. You shit your pants, and people make a nice eulogy about you. But previously, the game technically is still in early access, I believe. I don't think it's hit 1.0 yet. And
I don't think so, yeah.
They offered a special pack. You had your standard edition, which I think was like usual, like £40, $60, whatever. And then you had a $150 pack called Edge of Darkness. Now, the Edge of Darkness edition had a couple of pay-to-win aspects, like you got an increased inventory size, but these are all things that
inventory is very powerful in Tarkov as well. Very.
But it was stuff that you could unlock in the game eventually. You just got a head start, effectively. Like you started with more starter gear, but it was still like subtle pay-to-win. But people were forgiving of it because it was stuff you could eventually unlock. One of the key features of the Edge of Darkness edition is it's stated that any future DLC you would get for free. So if you bought the standard one, any future DLC packs you'd have to pay for separately. Whereas if you bought the Edge of Darkness edition, any new editions or packs or season passes, etc., you just got them. They came with the Edge of Darkness edition. Now, I'm going to break this down into segments, I think is the best way to do it, because they would do one thing, there would be a reaction, they would do another thing, there'd be a reaction. So I'll take you through those reactions, basically. So what they've done is they've delisted the Edge of Darkness edition. And then they've listed a new edition called the Unheard Edition, which I think is a monumentally stupid name. Like, what? Why?
That's an awful fucking name.
So stupid, it must mean something in lore, in universe.
I think there is something else in the game that's like unheard something, like an item, but as far as I'm aware, that's about it. It's a terrible name for marketing, though. Like, why would you call your game the Unheard? Like, Unheard Edition. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Like,
Because it's quite unheard of.
Yeah,
it's so monumental. It's unheard of.
Yeah, the connotations are silly. So you had that, and it's
I hate myself.
$250. Now, for this, you get again some more pay to win stuff, and some of it is like blatantly pay to win, not like you can unlock later, like inventory size or the
you just can't unlock it at all. It's exclusive to
you only get it with the Unheard Edition, and that includes things like if you are in a fight in a raid, as they're called, you can call your mates into the game. Usually it's just you get matchmaking and then you start fighting and you fight whoever you get loaded in with. But imagine you're like in a gunfight and then you're like, oh, I'm getting my ass kicked. I'll just like radio in my friends who can then just join the raid at that time rather than at the beginning on an even playing field. Yeah, so there's that.
I would like to point out that is a really cool mechanic.
That is a cool mechanic,
but not behind a paywall.
Not behind a paywall.
No. Like, I do like that mechanic for everyone.
Yeah. Imagine you're like, oh, I'm fucked. And your mate is like just doing inventory stuff and shit like that and gets the call. It's like, I've been activated.
Yeah.
Like that would you go in.
Would you like to be that hero? Just kind of
just literally Foo Fighters starts playing in the background and you're just there like slow-mo gunning everyone down. But yeah, unfortunately, it's behind a paywall. They also...
Oh my God, that's so stupid.
They've also locked a PvE mode behind that same paywall.
Actual game mode.
So Escape from Tarkov traditionally is PvP only. You just get a bunch of people that get loaded into a game. There's PvE elements, but it's PvP otherwise. It's a competitive shooter. So they've locked this offline mode where you can play co-op with your mates, and that's behind the paywall. And there was something else as well, like another pay-to-win feature that was like blatantly pay-to-win. I think there was some gear that you can only get if you get the Unheard Edition as well, something along those lines. So this is stage one of the fuck over your customer player base ending, let's call it.
And all this while the game is still in early access.
Yes.
The game is actively worked on. So there was initial pushback to this, and they actually gave people who bought the Edge of Darkness edition access to the PvE mode for 6 months. Yeah,
so initially, before that, it was a discount to you could buy it separately with a 70% discount if you had the Edge of Darkness edition. Obviously, so we just dial it back for a moment. So you got like stage one, everyone kicked off. When people were kicking off, Nikita, who's the like CEO and like one of the senior developers, was like, okay, people are upset about the paywall for the PvE, and the fact that you aren't getting it for free if you had Edge of Darkness edition. This is not a DLC. This is a game mode. This is a feature. Just because, and I quote, just because you want it to be a DLC doesn't mean it is. That is what the devs said initially in response to people kicking off about the PvE mode being locked behind a paywall. Now, obviously, everyone's reaction to that was, fuck off, you like semantic bastards, like kind of thing. First of all, downloadable content is only called downloadable content because physical content used to be prolific. It no longer is. It basically means stuff you get added onto the game nowadays. And
content that is downloadable.
yeah, it's like, so how do we get this PvE mode? We download it? Oh, I see, and it's
Download
content.
the content. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not DLC. You have to download the No, it's not. No, it's not. You have.
Yeah, so that was actually their first response. They doubled down and was just like, no, you're all wrong. You're just trying to make mountains out of molehills kind of thing. It's like, no, you've literally screwed over your player base. This technically they still had Edge of Darkness listed for a little while as well, and they edited out the bit that said that you get downloadable content, future downloadable content for free. But of course, Wayback Machine, so everyone's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So then that's when they were like, okay, we've pissed you off. Let's see if we can make amends. So they offered it as a separate game mode that you could purchase regardless of if you bought the Unheard of Edition. And people with Edge of Darkness Edition got a 70% discount. People was like, that's still bullshit. You're still making us pay if we spent $150 in the first place. And there's still all the pay to win. So that's when they were like, okay. If you bought Edge of Darkness Edition, you get access to the PvE content for 6 months. Then you have to buy the Unheard Edition anyway, or the separate, like little DLC that would still be fucking included. But yeah, they also said that they're going to rebalance items that are like blatantly pay to win. I don't think they addressed like the call-in feature at all. So people are just like, no, this is horseshit. What you're talking about? The Discord, I've left the Discord, but when I was in it a couple of days ago, it is literally thousands and thousands and thousands of copy pasta. Just like, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah. You're treating your customers like crap. And people are just spamming that. And there's like thousands of people in that Discord. And any kind of conversation has just been killed. Like the moderators haven't even attempted to deal with it because they simply can't because of the numbers. There was another thing they did as well. They retweeted a game, I believe it was called Battle Arena, who are also an extraction shooter with like modern era vibes when it comes to warfare. And they were like,
right.
I think they did a bit of hazing along the whole like shenanigans going on with EFT. And EFT were just like, enjoy your 20 minutes in this plagiarized game kind of thing, and actually tweeted that out. I believe they got community noted like immediately. And people are like, this is not a good look. Why are you just hating on someone for having a game in the same genre? Stop being dicks about it. Nikita did other statements and he was like, the true believers read as people who give us money and like being ripped off, things like that. It was just like, I'm not the biggest fan of Nikita. I think he said some very stupid things in the past. For me personally, I'm no longer going to be playing Tarkov. That like all trust is shattered. It's
Do you want to know the
situation.
worst part of this whole situation?
Go on.
The developers obviously need money, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
That's why they've done a $250 thing. They need money
Right.
to keep developing their game. Tarkov, people who play Tarkov, fans of Tarkov, the community of Tarkov are very into Tarkov.
Yes.
They love getting involved. They love saying what's broken, what's OP, whatever. They really enjoy everything about this game. It's maybe a bit big for a niche, but it kind of fits in that cult classic sort of vibe, right? It's a close-knit community who really cares about Tarkov. If the developers went, hey, we need more money coming in so we can carry on working on this game and do what we want to do. Here is a badge. It costs $100. People would give them $100.
Yeah.
People would do, like the hardcore base, the people who bought the 150 original Darkness one. People would go, okay, here's $100 for this badge. They would have done that. They love this game.
Just cosmetics in general.
Why when they've been shit on by this company, are rightly angry because they're like, I love you, man. Why have you done this to me? If you want $100,
why would you do this to us?
They would have done it, like for a badge, for nothing, for like a silly little cosmetic
That's the
item.
craziest thing is that as long as you're just cosmetics, people will pay for that.
It's like, my chat brought it up. I did speak about this earlier. Star Citizen. people love Star Citizen despite its flaws. They love that game, and like the amount of money people drop on that for ships. Yeah, that is content, but like people would have done it. It's Tarkov.
If you're if you're clear with your audience that this is what you're paying, like there was a game, it was like an indie game. I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to look it up on Steam. Where like they had a DLC and it was just a hat for the game. It was like one of those like an indie like RPG. And in the description they said it's just a hat. It's just to throw like an extra $2.50 to us to like buy us a cup of coffee or something. Like it was just that explicit with what exactly what you'd be purchasing. And the reviews on it were extremely high because the developer just said, just help us get
those reviews are like, this is the best hand I've ever bought in my life.
Right.
This hat fixed my leg.
I forgot what game it was.
That saved my marriage.
And I forgot what game it was, but it was one of those like indie like RPG games. And it's like, I'm sure people really love it. I haven't played it, and I'll have to find the name of it.
They need a large influx of money. If they were transparent, they would have gotten the money.
It was the fact that they were so transparent. Like, you're just buying a hat, you're buying a cosmetic. It's just to help us get continue on the game or improve the experience.
And they could have just given all the stuff. Maybe not the pay to win stuff because that's always too enthuse you to buy.
Yeah, don't ever do that.
Give you the stuff. Here's a new game mode. Hi guys, we need more money to produce this game. Here is a thing. Yeah. It doesn't do a little tag before your name, a founder's badge, a producer's badge, anything. And people would have gone, here's $100. I play this game all the fucking time. Yeah. I love it. I'm constantly on the forums in the Discord talking about it. Like, it's so monumentally stupid, tone deaf for the game they've got and the community that they have got around them. And now they've just shit on that.
Yeah, 100%.
There is only one fix for that, and you walk all of that back.
Yeah. And they've had a number of statements since it's all started, and the apology was such a non-apology. It was one of those "I'm sorry you feel that way" kind of apologies as well. It was really, really condescending. They've basically thrown it in the play base's faces, and like you said, it's very feasible they could have done cosmetics only. Very, very feasible. They have cosmetics in the game essentially. Like you can buy masks or like within game currency, that is. Masks, armbands, things like that, headgear. You can run around in Santa masks and shit like that if you really want to. Yeah. And beanies, things that don't actually have any kind of meaningful impact in the game. So they definitely had the means to do that. The statements that Nikita has been making, like, I want to lower the player base as well because I only want the true believers. Like that's actually words he spoke. True believers.
The true believers.
Yeah. Like that's not me being like hyperbolic.
That's you're going against the grain.
Yeah, and it's just silly bullshit like that. Obviously, they came out with Arena. Arena very much bombed out. I can't imagine they actually spent that much developing Arena, and like I don't think they're that short on money either. Like Escape from Tarkov, like extraction shooters are somewhat niche, but it's up there. Like Escape from Tarkov did very, very well.
If you play extraction shooters, I mean, you probably played the Division first. They invented the genre, but you play Tarkov. If you like extraction shooters, you play Tarkov.
Yeah, like it's a game that's been, I believe, like quite high in the concurrent player count as well. Like it's probably in the top 50.
The game.
Yeah,
like there is so much volume from supporters, like good and bad, but they care about the game.
Yeah.
And you could have just sold them a hat for $50 and they would have bought it.
Yeah, I posted the hat in the Discord for you guys. The game was Secrets of Grindia. I've never heard of it. But it's literally Valkyrie hat or buy us coffee DLC.
Fair.
Like you could have done a hat.
Could have done a hat.
They could have done a hat.
Yeah. So
and they would have gotten more money than even if this didn't go tits up.
And everyone would have loved that hat.
Yeah.
They would have.
Yeah, people would. I bet you, like, if a hat like that was in Tarkov, not, but you know, if that was in Tarkov, people would be wearing it and going, "Look, Look at me. I
And
didn't
you're
need
right.
to do this.
And you're right, Peachy. The reviews. This hack gave me the courage to stand up to all the jerks who think they're better than me, but it did not give me the power to beat them. I've been hospitalized for 3 weeks. 11 out of 10. What that again?
I like it.
But the top comment is exactly as advertised.
Nice.
Here you
nice.
go.
Yeah, it's a shame as well.
You're idiots, and I'm blaming the CEO because that runs with my whole narrative.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because it is a good game. It has its problems. The sound has always been a bit janky, and it's something that people have been waiting to get fixed for some time. But otherwise, if you are into competitive shooters, it's a really, really fun, immersive game. I remember the first time I played it. I'd been watching one of my friends, G-Faust, play it for quite a while.
Very immersive.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. And I think it was before they made some changes to the sound, so the sound system is actually probably worse now than it was when I first started playing. But I remember like loading into my first raid, and I just had a pistol. I barely had any gear on, and I was running around in this factory area within a map called Customs, and I was trying to loot a bag. Now, the game doesn't really give you any hints on what buttons to press, so I was like, how the fuck do I open this bag? I accidentally shot the bag, and I shit my pants because the sound is, like, really important. Because I'm like, kind of thing, because you're constantly listening out for people, for footsteps or stuff like that, because it's that competitive. It's like you hear a bush rustle, and you're like, "What's in the bush? Shoot the bush!" kind of thing. It's like that kind of immersion.
The sound system broke Brian.
I mean, it did, because you do get like genuinely shaky, like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna get fucked," kind of thing when you first start playing. But then you get into it. But that's part of the joy of it, like the adrenaline, the immersion. You do get so immersed in it, and then they do like stupid shit like this, like this isn't the first time they've done stupid shit, but this is definitely like the mountain
most egregious.
Yeah, by far. Like this was a garbage truck unloading just all of the shit onto the player base kind of thing, and it's such a shame because they
need to fix it, otherwise this game is dead.
Yeah, they absolutely do.
Yeah, dead in the water for sure.
They do.
But that's the only way I see to fix it. You just go, okay, no, all right, no.
Even then, for me, like I'm the sort of person who does vote with their wallet.
Once bitten, twice shy.
Yeah, I was going to buy the Edge of Darkness edition for 1.0. I had every intent of doing that because I liked the game. They've been developing it all this time. They do add content like quite regularly. But now I'm like, nah, I'm not going to be playing your game ever again. I have no trust in Battlestate Games at all whatsoever because this is so flagrant. Like it's so blatant. It's not a we're struggling for money, so we're gonna do like this emergency thing. It's we're gonna use that as an excuse and rip you off kind of thing. Yeah, and
it's all greed.
Well, interestingly as well is the developer is Russian, but their headquarters is based in the UK, which technically they probably would have fallen under the UK jurisdiction anyway because they have UK customers. But I'm pretty sure the ASA, which is like the FTC for the UK, is going to get involved because it's blatant false advertising where they're like, oh yeah, it's not DLC. It is DLC. The fact that they removed that from the list of perks.
It's also just so insulting that the game's still in early access and you're releasing DLC.
That as well. That's always kind of like I can kind of vibe with it because if it's an ongoing development of a game, then sure you're gonna need some more money. But
let's consider the source here.
Yeah, I mean,
it's
in this instance, it does just feel like
it's a slimy thing to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Finish your game.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the shenanigans. I believe I put it in the title or something of Escape from Tarkov. Should we jump to break, or do you want to cover a couple of the filler topics quickly first?
Oh, I didn't even get the filler.
What's in filler that we can do in? Was it half hour?
So there's a quick one. Did you see the Google Play Twitter?
No, I didn't see this.
Okay.
I didn't. No, I haven't seen this.
So a lot of people are assuming it's AI because it was done so poorly, but Google Play If you just search Google Play Sonic in Twitter, it'll come up. But they did a thread, and the idea of the thread was they wanted to like talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, as in the game, and how he's aged over time. And the idea was to have a comment, and throughout the thread, each comment being, this is when he was in 1993, and this is what he looked like, and stuff like that. Have they? Oh, they haven't. Tell me they haven't. It's very funny. Let me go back to.
Apparently, Kevin was on a loop.
Right.
He comes over. He's like, "You guys are offline." Like, yeah, we know.
Yeah. So apologies for that. I think it's my router. It's more powerful than my ISP one, but it's like 10 years old now, so I might have to plug the ISP one back in. It's getting on a bit. But
I
yeah,
used 2 routers.
Used 2. Fair. In bridge
Well,
mode.
my other was getting overheated, and I thought, oh, here's just a wireless thing. There we go.
Right. Fair.
We're back.
But yes, it looks like they have deleted the tweet. It took them a while though. That was still up like yesterday, so it was 9
Are there any
tweets.
pictures of it? I want to see.
I imagine there will be.
Right now.
I was gonna say, I imagine there will be some somewhere.
The internet is forever, Peachy. I've been looking them up.
Google Play.
I like.
Oh,
Sonic
community notes
Hedgehog.
violating. People have got a thread about it. Here we go.
They called him a
1991, Sonic, the cover. Rotund, husky, still fast as lightning. The actual game, 8-bit glory. Nothing about that is true.
Yeah. Throw the link over and I can bring it up on screen. But yeah,
sorry. Yeah,
they-
sorry.
It reads as very AI generated as well. Like there's supposed to be like loads of punchy lines, and it's like that.
Did they call him
doesn't
a
make sense.
short king?
Yes, they call him a short king at
I
one
saw
point.
it. I'm like looking at that, and it's like, what?
It's so dumb.
Community notes. This is Sonic as he appears in Sonic Boom, which released in 2014, not 1993. It is possible that Google Play have confused it for the game Sonic CD, which did release in 1993, and contains a song called Sonic Boom, which is a banger, by the way. That is a banger of a track.
It is.
Sonic, are those MSCHF boots?
Right?
Wait,
Like, what does that mean? What?
2003 Sonic, who needs running at the speed of light when you can hitchhike? Grinny face.
what?
Yeah. And like every single one of these got community noted. It was like, this is not a picture from that year. This is from a different year. This is from a different game.
God.
This statement made in this tweet is
funniest
inaccurate.
thing ever.
Yeah, so like Google doesn't know how to Google, basically, but it was just so bad. I thought it was hilarious. Initially, it was only like the last 7, and then each one just got like it got the 8th one, then the 9th one, and it looks like it's hit the press because a load of outlets started covering it in the last 2 days. And yeah, it looks like they finally caught on. They were like, "Oh, this is dumb. We've just embarrassed ourselves."
I like 2020 Sonic. It was a strange year for us all. Let's leave it at that. And then it says this frame came from the second Sonic the Hedgehog film, which came out in 2022, not 2020.
Yeah. It's just stupid shit like that. So
I would like to
stupid
point
shit.
out there is an 8-bit version of Sonic the Hedgehog on the Master System, which
True.
was released after the first one.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
maybe both.
So yeah, a lot of people have assumed that it's AI because it's nonsensical.
To be.
How else could you get like
This was
blatantly
so
not
funny.
like low res pictures or low resolution textured pictures, and then claim that they're from
The
1993
thread
and
was
stuff?
so odd that the official Sonic the Hedgehog account commented asking, "What are you doing?"
I saw that too. They're just like, what are you doing, bro?
It was just like, what are you doing?
Why would you do such a thing?
So yeah, I figured I would throw that into the agenda because it would tickle you both. Because it tickled me as soon as I saw it. I was just like, "What is this?" Google
That's my
doesn't know how to
favorite
Google.
thing today.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's my
fantastic.
favorite.
Community notes
today, for
violating
sure.
people are my favorite Twitter profile because everything else is just trash.
Yeah, true. Should we jump into break?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to jump into break chat. Don't worry, we will not get community noted on our return. And whilst we're on a break, maybe you should check out our Patreon. which is patreon.com/fully
We
rendered.
told no one about that,
we
Brian.
told them, but we were
while we were offline, we were like, "Oh, better
We
fill
thought-
space because we are streamers and we know we have to fill space." But
Yeah,
we weren't
PG, I thought
online.
we were still online.
We
Yeah.
did a skit about I got out the rule book for Warhammer.
I'm sorry, but
I know. We were trying to save face 3, Brian.
it's cool. But for those interested, the first part of Getting Hammered, which is about Peachy teaching Pulp Warhammer, is now available.
Get to the actual description there because it just sounds weird and I regret everything about the
No,
title.
I'm gonna leave it as that. So Peachy gives Pulp a good teaching in Getting Hammered, and for $8 you can see what happened.
That's weird. Behind a paywall.
And we'll
God,
see you
you're
in
so
5-10 minutes. See you shortly.
Fuck you, Brian.
Oh my god.
It's a beautiful thing.
Stable internet.
Listen,
today.
my internet is technically stable. My router isn't. All right, toodaloo.
Oh, fuck yeah. I don't need to pee, but maybe I should just go pee. What do you reckon, chat?
That's how I'm gonna go.
That's all. We'll do a group pee.
Apparently, I don't know how to put my own headphones on.
We all reconvened at the same time. We have the same size bladder.
I just went to go eat a blackberry.
Okay.
One
we-
singular
I'm not
blackberry.
but sure.
Yeah. That's all I wanted. Ah,
Yeah, it's over an hour of content. That's some content.
yeah, it's really interesting too.
I think it's fascinating, but I am absolutely so far up the butthole of Warhammer that I can't actually... I can't be non-biased about it.
No, I mean, I didn't know because it was a lot more. It was about the Space Marines, and no spoilers. But I was very intrigued. I had like it sent me all like the diagrams and everything of them, so I'm just like, and I'm googling more information about it.
It was legitimately a ball ache to edit all the stuff in.
Oh, I imagine so.
Because I have to then watch every single second to make sure that the right thing is on screen.
Right, that makes sense.
Or at least something relevant. I probably shouldn't have done it in one sitting, but it was done.
How long did it take you?
One sitting? I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I don't track my time.
Oh. Okay, that's fair.
But I didn't get anything else done work related that day, so took a fair chunk. But then I did play games later on with friends and stuff. It's not like my entire day was taken up.
Yeah, editing is a very time-consuming thing. Like a 20-minute video can take me like 4 to 5, sometimes 6 hours, depending on how much editing I'm specifically doing.
My painting videos take a week to edit because I'm a fussy little bitch. And also I have like 16 hours of recorded footage.
Yeah, true.
On multiple devices.
Yeah, when you include like getting your B-roll, searching for other things as well that you might want to put in the video, it all adds up.
B-roll for my next video. Thanks, Brian.
I got you. We ready to return?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Welcome back, everyone, to part 2 of episode 30 of the Fully Rendered podcast. Hopefully no more internet disconnects or anything like that. Apologies once again. Shall we jump into the other consumer shenanigans, or can
Oh god, this one makes
The
me
consumer
so sad.
episode.
Yeah, so
This one makes me so sad if it's what I think it is.
so it's the Helldivers II bullshittery, let's say.
Yeah.
So for those unfamiliar, the game Helldivers II is technically under the Sony publishing arm, I believe.
Yes.
So when the game first released, not a lot of people noticed that there was a requirement listed for the game saying that you needed a PSN account, a PlayStation Network account.
I didn't notice it at all.
Yeah, like it is.
I absolutely must have skipped it.
It was basically in like small print in some places, and then there was a screen that said link your PlayStation account and then skip. Now apparently it was for technical reasons. So they were like, you will need it eventually, but we'll let you skip it for now. So for 3 months, people have been playing the game without listing or without linking a PlayStation account.
And that's been fine, right?
Yeah.
People have been enjoying the game.
And now...
No, I haven't had mine connected.
Yeah, so now a statement was put out saying, by the way, you need to link your account by XYZ date. If you're a new purchaser, you've got to do it by this date. If you're someone who's been playing for the last 3 months, it's got to be done by the 30th of June, something like that. There was like different requirements depending on like when you bought into the game, basically.
Right.
And that has upset a lot of people. And there seems to be separate camps. There's one camp that's just annoyed that you have to link your account at all. I'm personally not that bothered about that because that's a practice that's been around for a number of years. Like Xbox do it with Sea of Thieves, for example, things like that. One of the main issues is for like half the globe, which is they don't have access to create a PlayStation account. Like I don't believe the vast majority of Africa is like able to make a PlayStation Network account. I don't believe China can. I believe there's a couple of other
China
places.
can't do anything the Tencent say they can.
Yeah, that's true.
Your social score will go down, and you don't want that to go down.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of people who just won't be able to do that, first and foremost. There's also the fact that it was very difficult to spot that requirement in the first place, in the communication. Like, we've had some community managers going, oh, it's for this X, Y, and Z reason. It's not Sony's fault. And then we've got the CEO who's then going, pointing at Sony, going, it's just like, blame them, like, message them. Sony, at the same time, updated their blog that previously said to play PlayStation games on PC, you sometimes need to connect your PlayStation account. That has since been changed as of yesterday to you need a PlayStation account to play PlayStation games on PC. So it looks like it's going to be the same for like Ghost of Tsushima. Potentially it's going to be changing for like Horizon, for example. I don't know if you had to link your account for that one.
So any game that was essentially like originally going to be a PlayStation exclusive, now it's like their way of kind of, oh, I don't like that. Yeah, so that's obviously upset a lot of people. So it's the shitty communication.
A lot of people.
Sorry?
Today alone, when Brian says a lot of people, today alone, there have been posted 54,753 negative reviews. Today alone.
People being pissed is an understatement.
Yes, they are deeply upset. I've got an image on screen that was provided by Game Radka, I believe is the username. But yeah, so it's definitely a faux pas. I think with better communication, they would have definitely mitigated a lot of this shit. Like they said it was a requirement from the get-go, but in teeny tiny text, so no one actually saw it. So you've got people who, of course, spent money. People in Africa, for example, who are now going to be like, oh wait, so in like June 30th, I'm not going to be able to play the game anymore. What do? The reply from the devs from Arrowhead has been, we're looking into it. Initially, it was a little bit shirty, the replies at first. They were like, yo, listen, this is what it said all along. Again, it depended on which community manager you spoke to as well. Some community managers were like, no, it's for security reasons and things like that, which I do believe is partially correct, because Sony are quite like hardcore about that sort of thing, and it does connect
Sony
with
really
you.
do love to scrape data and sell it on.
That
Yeah,
as well.
That's the ironic part about this. They're claiming, and haven't they had like security breaches before too?
They have had
So
security
it's-
breaches in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when I say for safety, I mean like bannable offenses, things like that. So like it's tied to your PSN account, and they're quite strict in that regard. So like you've had Arrowhead community managers saying it's going to be really good for like getting rid of cheaters, griefers, people who are harassers, things like that. And then saying it's not Sony's fault. And then, like I said, you've got the CEO who's just like subtly going, no, talk to them, have a word with Sony kind of thing. You've got other CMs who are like, yeah, it's a Sony thing. So there's lots of mixed messaging. There's lots of very easy to miss messaging over the last 3 months, things like that. And that's all built up into this big angry ball of anti-consumer bullshit, basically.
Right.
Let me tell you why they're both lying to you.
Go on.
First of all, Sony's lying to you because they're a giant corporation. They do not give a shit about you. Okay. The development team, I have evidence that it's not just Sony. There is something else here. And the evidence is, as of the first quarter of this year, the top 10 PC and console games, Fortnite, the monolith, is the highest earning game. Yeah, that makes sense. The next one is, I threw up in my mouth a bit, EA Sports FC 24, because that is predatory and that earns a lot of money because people like football.
Yeah. Previously known as FIFA, for those unaware.
The third top PC and console game for earnings is Helldivers 2. Now that is true for them being third is true for both America and the UK. The football games do better in not in the UK, in Europe in general. Football games do better, so they are first. But top PC games cumulative revenue in Q1. This is the top. This is the best earning PC game just on PC. Is Helldivers 2.
Damn.
If the devs went, oh, actually, we don't want this, what is Sony going to say? No? The top earning PC game, the number 3 all-time top earning game of console and PC, are they going to say no?
I mean, they might. I've heard from a lot of devs that have done like interviews and stuff who have worked with Sony, that Sony are actually really difficult to work with. And are quite like bully-ish or bullish, I suppose is the best word.
I can actually attest to that. My company, that my day job, I'm not going to go too much into detail with it, but Sony are notoriously difficult to work with.
Yeah.
Okay, but in America, Helldivers, and let's have a look. Yeah, it's down there. In America and in Europe, Helldivers is earning more money on PC than Fortnite. You telling me that they have zero power?
I understand what you're saying, but this is a company that's notorious, like they're of trying to get their way
because they want to earn money.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do not believe a single word that the developers say now because of this.
I wouldn't completely dismiss. I can't words it today. I wouldn't completely dismiss everything they're saying. I do believe that they, at least like senior exec level, they were initially okay with it, One of the CMs has tweeted, I believe earlier today, where they were like, the dev team are not happy about it.
Right.
But I would
I'm sure they're not happy about it. It's still happening.
If
No, no.
my
you
conspiracy theory, would you say like there's a likelihood that they agreed to this not knowing that, because we didn't, because remember when Helldivers first came out, we did not know it was going to be as big as it is now. And when they agreed upon this, did they think that that was the better option for them, because it would give the kind of probably safeguard their brand, because at least it's being supported by Sony?
I think
maybe
it's probably a lot more innocent than that initially. I think they were just like, okay, Sony's publishing our game. They're forking a lot of money for us to be able to make the game. Because you got to bear in mind, Helldivers, obviously, the first game had like 10,000 players. Like
that's what I'm wondering, is because Sony's supporting it. Did this sound like a better option for them prior to release? That's what my theory was.
Well, I reckon they probably just went, yeah, that's fair play, we'll do this. And then because it was temporarily disabled, and now players have already bought into the game, and now they're retroactively implementing it, I think that's what's bitten them in the ass. I reckon if it was this from the beginning, they wouldn't. Had it from the beginning. Yeah, I don't think there would have been any issues with it. But because it wasn't, it's been 3 months into the game, people are now having to retroactively do it and whatnot.
I agree, because as a player, I have a PSN. It doesn't affect me in any way. But if I don't have an Xbox, so when I do play any games by Microsoft and I have to log into my Xbox account, I'm terrible at memorize my password, but I'll do it begrudgingly. And right now with this, it's like, if I had been told ahead of time going in, it wouldn't have bothered me then. Now it's just more of an annoyance for myself.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, it's using again Xbox as an example. It is something that Xbox do for some of their games. Like, you need an Xbox account to play.
They're very clear about it from the get-go, and that's where the problem is. You need to be clear about this from the beginning. And if you give people the option to skip, they should continuously have that option to skip.
Yeah, 100%.
A lot of people are like saying, technically a true thing with, it's just signing into another thing. It's not that much. But it's clearly not a big thing. It's not clearly not a small thing, is it? This many people are annoyed. Like, there is a problem here, and it is a very small thing to just put in an email address and stuff. I think I have a PSN account. Yeah. But why do I need that? Why do I need? Why does your game need another barrier in front of it? You pay for the game. It's a live service. There is DLC. There is a battle pass. And now data as well. How much do I have to give this game to play it?
In order just to play it. And that's what I'm saying when it comes to, like, in comparison to Microsoft, when you play a game on say a Game Pass, you're already logged into your Microsoft account. There is no other safeguard. There is no other barrier to get you in there. You're already in. And with Sony, because they don't have their own launcher or Game Pass equivalent, they use Steam. Now they're adding now they're adding this other barrier, and it is annoying. It is awful. And everyone has a right to be pissed specifically because of how many people will not be able to access this game that they purchased. They purchased in order, because they're incapable of getting a PSN. Like, in my chat, apparently in Ukraine, you can't have a PSN without owning a PlayStation. Yeah. So how is that fair? Yeah,
it's definitely very, very scummy to retroactively implement it. It's a very scummy
move on Sony's part.
Yeah, very, very, very scummy. I do think if it was just clear from the get-go, they would have definitely mitigated the vast majority of the backlash, because people would have known going in, like, oh, okay, fair enough, I've got one kind of thing.
If I'm being honest, I would have preferred right from the beginning there wasn't a skip option. Yeah. And just be like, just put it in your PSN, and I would have just gone on my merry way and not had an issue with it. But It is an issue now.
I think the only way they're going to get, well, I don't want to use the phrase get away with this, but I think the only way they're going to mitigate the outrage now is if they explain specifically what that technical issue was.
Yeah.
Because
Or
you would think
bring
like,
bring back making it an option for people. But I don't know how that would work. Because if it is for a reporting aspect, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Sony's going to bulldoze it. And well, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not a dev. I don't work for Sony or Arrowhead, so I'm not going to say, oh, it's not this or not that, because I don't know. And the fact is, there are community managers who are saying no, and I think they were being sincere with it as well, who do genuinely think it will be helpful. And I imagine there are going to be tools through the PlayStation Network account system that is going to be beneficial to developers with handling grief reports, banning, harassment, stuff like that. I do genuinely think that's the thing, but I think that Sony are going to bulldoze this through. I think it's a term and condition that they're going to be implementing with all of their games, and thus with that potential future in mind, I think the only thing that Arrowhead can now do is say it was temporary, this is why, rather than going it was a technical issue. Because I hear that excuse and I think, well, why couldn't you just like link it, have the player enter their details, but then not enable the functionality immediately, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So rather than just saying, oh, you can skip it.
How this is going to work, how it's going to affect
the folks who can't get them.
I don't think it will too much. Going to be honest, I don't think this will kill the game at all.
Yeah, I don't think
it'll kill the game.
I don't think they'll see a drastic drop in people playing. The people who are giving bad reviews are clearly playing the game. I mean, obviously there's review bombing because
I'm going to keep it
the thing I don't like.
I want to keep an eye on this because I'm really fascinated as to how this will pan out for them, because because you're right, there are a lot of people leaving negative reviews and then I still see them playing.
Yeah. I mean, that's how it always is, isn't it? Like for a lot of people, it's like, yeah, I'm going to boycott it, and then a trailer for their favorite franchise comes out, and they're like, oh, you know what, I'm going to come back, kind of thing.
That's I'm not the boycotting. That's saying something and doing something else, but not being happy with the game you're playing. And that's
that's fair.
And this like review bombing is a proven successful way of saying, hey, listen to us, we pay you. We have put you #1 in PC games in the world. That's how much money you're earning from us. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So I used to think, review bombing, but it is proven to get results. But you're right. Sony will just go no, and they'll have to do this.
There's the saying, any bad publicity is still good publicity, or any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
They're still giving them the attention.
20 to 30,000 players, and that won't even touch them online.
You bringing up, showing us all the the review bombs. What did that do? It brought more traffic to the store page, because I already own the game. I don't go to the store page, and the first thing I did was I was like, oh, word, and went to go check it. So people who haven't played the game now and might still go check it out, and who knows, they might even get a few sales out of this.
For the record, this is this thing isn't a big problem. It's straw that breaks the camel's back, because corporates keep pulling shit and lying to you.
Yes.
Even if it's just optics of lying to you, because they put it really small but you could skip and I can play. Okay, I don't need to do that. Like, they know what they do when they do stuff like that. That's not subconscious. That is actively conscious design of the UI.
You can't feign ignorance when you do shit like this.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you not know this was going to upset someone?
Yeah.
Especially PC players. We traditionally hate fucking consoles. I have a Switch, but
yeah, it's
I'm
surprising
playing
as well.
my PC game on my PC, and I have to get a fucking PlayStation account?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any fucking sense, and we don't need it.
It doesn't help that
we've been playing
Sony
the
also
game
is stretched into Epic Game Store as well. So it's not just they only have games in Steam. Because I would argue like, oh, maybe it's just because they're putting their games on Steam, but then there's also Epic Game Store, which is also connected to Sony.
Yeah, I think what's really piss people off as well is the poor communication, especially from
Yeah,
Arrowhead, who
that's
have
exactly what
been
it is.
communicating other things so well. Like their like CM game has been strong. The memes, the tweets, everything. People have been like riding that high, and they've been communicating absolutely everything else very perfectly. Like, let's be real. And then suddenly they're just like, what we kind of thing, and like pointing fingers at Sony, saying it's no, it's them. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I don't know.
they're fumbling the bag.
It could be. Well, probably, I think some of it is going to be that they're just not familiar with this territory, because they are a small company that's suddenly been blown up, and then big beefy Sony's like, yo, what up?
I mean, kind of. That's probably accurate, because they didn't expect the game to be as big as it is too.
100%.
It's the highest earning PC game in this quarter. That's insane.
That is
from
insane.
a small team.
Yeah.
It won't stop people playing it. It won't kill the game. It'll just go through anyway, and we've got to sit there and accept the bullshit that corporations feed us constantly as they push it just a millimeter each time, and we go, oh, well, that's not important. It's just an email, yeah. And then the next one, it's 2 emails. The next one, it's, well, 5. If you just give us £5, you can play online. And then it's £10, and it's this is what corporations do. They just push and push and push until you go, oh, fine, whatever, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Fuck
I mean, Nintendo did it. I suspended my membership with the Nintendo Online because everything's so fucking expensive these days.
Yeah.
And like, I remember when they came out with when they revealed the Nintendo 64 virtual console, but that wasn't included in the base. You had to pay for the $50 a year one, which isn't a lot in comparison to some subscription services. But like, you could play the older consoles, but not Nintendo 64. You had to pay a little extra for that, and it was such an annoyance then too. And you're right, it's just like they'll find ways to gouge more money out of their players.
Give them an inch, they will take a mile. It's the same story every single time.
Yep.
100%. Speaking of Nintendo,
I know.
See, I
was sorry you love
Yeah. I like it. But yeah, unfortunately, Nintendo have continued on the carpet bombing at this rate of emulators. They DMCA'd over 8,500. I had to check that. 8,500 GitHub entries for like basically alternatives to Yuzu. So people that were like, oh, we've got Yuzu's code, let's just remake Yuzu kind of thing. So Yuzu, and I think there was another one as well. But yeah, so that they've basically
8,500.
Yeah, that is a lot. They also went after some other stuff, I believe, on Steam again. There's 2 like emulators that aren't based on Yuzu who are probably just sat there going, "This is fine, fine, Nintendo," kind of thing. But we'll have to see. I mean, it's annoying.
Oh, GitHub is such a problem.
Yeah, they may go after GitHub, and then Microsoft could get involved. That would be interesting.
This is the thing that companies with IP have to protect their IP, because if they don't, the next person who does it goes to court, and it's like, well, you didn't protect it then, so you don't.
Yeah.
You know,
Nintendo being Nintendo.
How much of those are just fucking fanfic? GitHub fanfic exists, and how much of it is just that? Just like
quite possibly.
I honestly,
there's no way there is 8,500
how would you find that many
clones.
How would you find that?
No way there is that many fully blown clones on GitHub.
No.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of it was people finding out that when Yuzu was going down, they were like, oh, well, I'm just going to re-upload it under a different name to preserve it and stuff like that, or re-upload certain files. It's not necessarily 8,500 emulators, but 8,500 entries of like accounts and stuff like that have been uploading stuff that was previously part of Yuzu. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Either way, I would love for Nintendo to just poke the wrong bear, a bear with a lot of money, and then that bear goes, listen, emulation is legal, let's fight it out and then see how that goes. Although that could backfire. in the same vein, because it could be that the court side
If
with
it
Nintendo.
does backfire, at least there won't be the fucking gray area anymore.
True,
We can
yeah.
hate them for what they truly want.
Yeah. I mean, either way, it's something that needs looking at and regulating properly, so we know where we as a consumer stand.
Because at the moment, we know where we stand and we do it anyway because it's a gray area.
True, true. Is there a particular topic you guys wanted to talk about?
Yes, Take-Two.
Right, so do you want to take the lead?
Okay, so Take-Two Interactive, a giant corporation. Just if you didn't know that Take-Two are a giant corporation who earn a lot of money, and the people who run the separate companies earn a lot of money. That might come up later. Are shutting down Roll7, which is a UK developer, right?
I believe so, yeah. They did Ollie Ollie World and Roller Dome, which were both very well reviewed.
Well reviewed, won awards, profitable.
Mm-hmm.
The things you want out of a video game, right? Well, I don't care if they win awards, to be honest, but that's like standard. Like, if you get that in your video game, that's awesome. That is a fully fledged success.
To be fair, one of those awards was a BAFTA, which is not a small deal either. It's not like, oh, it's just like the Game Awards kind of thing. It was like, it's a recognized, slightly snobby thing to win, but like world globally recognized thing as well.
So yeah, that company is being shut down. Intercept Games, who I didn't actually know what their name was, but they do Kerbal Space Program too. Rip everyone who was waiting for that to be updated and finished. They've just gutted. They haven't gutted the studios. They have shut the studios down. They're not like, oh, we'll keep some people here and we can do some stuff and get this going. No, they've shut them down. And the best thing is the CEO got a a pay rise of like 26 million.
Yep.
One person got $26 million, and they've shut down.
So yes,
Sorry.
So it's Strauss Zelnick. He to be clear, it was like his compensation. So basically, his reward for making money, his bonus, for lack of a better word. So it got increased from 16 million last year to 42 million, and it was worked out that would be enough to pay for both of those studios for an entire year, to pay for all the staff, all the devs, everything. Cunt.
What would he do for a year? The game's already profitable and winning awards.
Which is probably why he got that bonus.
Yeah.
And everyone else.
Look at all the good work I did.
Yeah.
I've not seen if they get any kind of severance or if they're allowed to show any work that they were working on that hasn't been published.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rules are for that, but if we go by what's usual, not always, but what's usual, they're not allowed, and they get nothing. And now they're out of a job, and all they've got is their last paycheck.
It's a shame as well,
That's so
because
fucked.
like obviously it's a shame in general, but for Roll 7 in particular, like Roller Dome was a sick game. I was looking forward to seeing what else they did. For those not familiar, Roller Dome was basically like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater with guns kind of thing, and it was actually like really well done.
Yeah, it's visually fucking beautiful as well. It looks fucking sick.
Yeah, very stylized. Basically everyone who I know has played it loved it. I was really looking forward to seeing what they would come out with like in the future. Now there is no future, which is
stop buying
very sad.
games that are backed by AAAs. Okay,
Mhm.
they are literally harming the industry. They are, look, we have proof. They are shutting down profitable, award-winning studios. They are killing games. Stop buying AAAs. They're not that good. Some of them, but they're not that
Some
good.
can be, but yeah, they're not.
All they are is a lot of money and polish. That's all it is. You want a good game, just get something indie. You can get indies that look like that. Like, the game development has progressed so far that people with care and attention can make stuff. They can raise money. They can do early access. AAA companies are ruining games, and if they went away tomorrow, I don't think we would lose that much, apart from some overpaid egotistical CEOs.
True and real.
True.
Sorry, let me just end that with.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. For the most part, like there are going to be a couple of games where I'm going to be like, damn, that does look good, but it's got to be real special and from very specific AAA developers. I already boycott Ubisoft. I stopped getting Blizzard games for an entire year. You know, like I am very much the person who will vote with their wallet kind of thing. And there's going to be games that I'm just going to straight up not deal with anymore, or developers that I don't deal with. Like EA, I tend not to touch them. Like the last really good game that I thought they did was Wild Hearts, and then they fucked that one up as well. So I'm like, oh, all right, okay, nice one, EA.
You know how expensive food is right now. Sort your lives out.
Yeah, true.
Just look out the window. Pull back your golden curtains made of the flesh of orphans and look out the fucking window. Idiots.
Especially for the British devs as well, because like there is obviously the cost of living crisis. It is global, but it is particularly bad.
Food is really bad here.
Here in the
Food
UK,
and
yeah.
energy, it's rough.
Yeah, so
It's been pretty bad here too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty lucky when it comes.
It is
to
bad
certain
everywhere.
things.
It really is.
Yeah.
But Brexit hasn't helped us.
It's not just one place.
yeah,
It's everywhere.
but hopefully they'll land on their feet. Best luck to them.
Oh, I need to. There we go.
Need to air yourself.
Enjoy myself. Why do I like every single episode? I rant about this shit, and it keeps happening. Is no one listening to me?
No, I'm sorry.
Unfortunately, no.
Nobody cares. I'm sorry, Peachy.
Nobody cares.
We'll fix all
Nobody
your
ever
problems,
listens.
AAA.
Nobody cares.
Call me. Actually, don't call me. I'll just tell you to fuck off because I'm just done with your shit at this point.
Next on the agenda, it's just a short one. One of the senior devs for Elden Ring and the Shadow of the Erd Tree DLC, they have
Just looking at that article.
Yeah, so they've officially confirmed that this is the first and the last DLC for Elden Ring.
I think they've been doing this. Like with Bloodborne, it was just the old hunters. There's usually only one DLC,
Yeah.
to my knowledge.
So a lot of people were hoping for like more DLC because of how successful Elden Ring is doing. It is their currently most successful IP. They have said, well, because the way our studio works, there's probably going to be some more Elden Ring at some point, kind of thing, or are open to doing it. Which
they're also making the Shadow of the Erd Tree is going to be huge.
Yeah,
it's a big DLC. It's $40. It's basically an expansion to the whole game.
100%. Yeah. So
I do like expansions. Yeah, you know, you get your
honestly,
little DLC extra story.
I played through the old hunters on Bloodborne. I still have to play through Dark Souls 1 through 3 and everything like that. But that's a very hefty DLC. So I'm hoping. But
Don't forget,
considering the source.
This is the company that were like, we don't want to make Dark Souls anymore. We're going to do a new thing. And they do it and everyone loves it. They're going to move on. They're creative people. Like they have made phenomenal games that resonate.
The article I'm looking at, which I just had and I lost. Here it is.
I suspect we will get a sequel, if I'm being honest.
The quote is, they said that we don't want to say this is the end of the Elden Ring saga for now. I think we said a similar thing at the end of Dark Souls 3. We didn't want to flatten those possibilities or put a pin in them at that time, and it's a similar story with Elden Ring. We don't want to discourage the possibilities for that. There might be more ideas for the future. We don't have current plans to make a second DLC or a sequel, but we definitely do not want to snuff out that possibility. We think there could well be something in the future, and I do appreciate that transparency. Like they don't want to like make any claims and give anyone false hope.
I suspect they will come out with a sequel eventually, though, because again, best-selling IP and Bandai Namco.
Yeah. There's probably a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Bandai Namco are like, we want more money. Make more game, please. So
but they're going to be like, well, wait for the next one. It will be like every game they've made has been better than the last.
I think but what I think this DLC. I'm gonna, obviously withhold my opinions until the DLC is out. But for what it seems like, I'm pretty sure they're gonna answer whatever questions players have from the main game with this DLC, because outside of a few things, most of the game is like pretty well, like it's pretty solid. Like everything's explained within the lore, within the world, and everything. You just gotta, the game's big enough to just gotta find
I
it.
actually don't care if okay, not particularly this game. Like I enjoyed it, but I don't care if things are left unanswered. I'm not.
No, I
don't
agree.
need everything. Do you know
I
what I mean?
think that they leave a lot to open to interpretation.
Yeah, because they're
Whenever
creative
you
people and they know, like, oh, we can fill this in.
don't hold my hand. Don't tell
Also-
me what what this is about. This no, it only means this. I like it that I like things being open ended.
Yeah, that's I think that's cool, especially with games. If you want to do a sequel, not all
Yeah.
sequels are good as well. Don't forget that.
True.
It encourages theories too. Like
Let them
that's why
cook.
you have.
And
That's
also,
why
you
you
don't
have-
even
you
have
have
the
creators.
DLC yet. Play that first
Yeah.
before you lament.
Well, there's why creators like Vati are so successful, and like why people flock to those, because they like to see all these everything, all the lore put in one place for them. But you could still take that information and interpret it however you want. Still,
The real question is going to be in December. Can a DLC be Game of the Year?
ooh,
That's going to
No,
be the
it
real
can't,
question. No, it
'cause
can't.
there's-
Well,
What?
I mean, Phantom Liberty
that's-
got some awards.
maybe.
Wait, that's not DLC. That was the
Yes,
game
it
of the
is.
demo.
It was it's a game mode. It's a feature. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm being facetious there.
No,
but
no, this makes sense. I swear to you, it but that's the game. No,
it's an
no, that's the
expansion.
game.
It's an expansion, my dude.
I mean, well, okay,
No, it was a demo.
hold on.
It was just no,
Wait, I want to start
no.
something really fast.
Obviously, again,
Because
I am.
Phantom Liberty is listed. How much was for like Phantom Liberty? $29.99. I mean, Shadow of the Erd Tree was 40.
Yeah.
Standalone. This isn't standalone, right?
No, it's an expansion.
Yeah.
You need the
But
base game.
Phantom Liberty is standalone. It's no.
No, it's DLC.
I don't like the other answer to this, so no.
No, it's DLC.
Again, I was being facetious, to be fair, but
Yeah, but you're right, and that's what's making me
True.
so annoyed.
true. There are going to be people
Yeah.
going, "Oh, the Erd Tree, they should be Game of the Year," but
I don't know if it should be Game of the Year, but like it's gonna be huge.
Yeah, it is
It's gonna be
gonna
a
be
big DLC.
I think
this
that's-
is basically a new game.
I think the success of it, which is pretty much inevitable, like unless they somehow monumentally fuck it up, but I think the success of that is
see that
also going to
happening.
give Bandai Namco leverage to be like, you need to make more of this. Like,
I think the
look at the large
opposite.
bag of money. Really?
I really hope they
Yeah,
don't.
because they're like, "Hey, trust us. Look how much money we're giving you," and they'd be like, "Okay." Because
That
the
doesn't
industry
seem
is
to
dying
work with
because people like us
From
are killing
Software.
it.
I feel
Okay.
like I really don't think that'll work on them, because I think the only one that didn't have Miyazaki worked on it was Dark Souls 2.
I mean, having said that, as far as I'm aware, and I may be misremembering, but Peachy obviously alluded to it earlier when they said they were like done with Dark Souls. It wasn't just Dark Souls; they were done with Souls likes, and then that's when people were like, "Ooh, Armored Core" kind of thing. And then they came out with Elden Ring, which is a Souls like. So I
Elden
suspect...
Ring was before Armored Core, though.
Yeah, but the quote that they said they were done with Souls likes was
okay.
pre Elden Ring, and then Elden Ring came out. Which is why when it came out, I was like, I thought they were moving away. Like I was down for them to move away from it.
I think probably that was them being kind of cheeky and like we're gonna make it more open world in comparison to like how all the other Souls, like, because everything's just a one contained area. Like, oh, you just gotta unlock the shortcuts. Whereas Elden Ring, yeah, it's a Souls like gameplay wise, but it does feel like a very different game at the same time. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's
that's
so
the thing
open and
is-
wide, and everyone's experience is going to be can be varied. Like the amount of times like I played through something and then say like my husband finds a weapon or something, or like a whole new area that I haven't even found. It's
This
that
is why
kind of
the
experience.
Souls-like genre is a terrible name, because they set the bar, they make it, right?
Mm.
It's like Doom clones. It was like 20 years until the FPS was the term for that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, also there was a great video released by Ahoy pointing out that Doom is actually an ARPG. and you should watch that video. It's on YouTube. It's by a great creator who makes one video a year, and they're always bangers. But yeah, like we need a new name for Souls. Like,
I mean, technically, it falls
I
into
have a whole section
ARPG.
on my Steam dedicated to
an
Souls like, and I don't, yeah, because like I kind of lump them all together with Metroidvanias too. They're kind of like
that's the
because
thing.
there's a lot of Metroidvanias that are Souls like, you know.
Yeah. So
It's
Castlevania
broad
or
now.
Metroid, the original, what genre was that?
Side-scrolling platformer action.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Like now that's a genre.
broad.
That means that like Doom, and you know, it's
I
or
also
Souls is not actually a
also always
Souls
thought
like.
Metroid-like games was when you start off with all of your like end game, and then you go back and like you
That's
have
more
to go
of a
back to
trope,
nothing.
but yeah, that's a trope
but, like,
of those. But that means the
Mm.
Castlevania
Trope.
or Metroid games weren't Metroidvania games. They weren't because they invented the term, right? And that's why we need
Yeah,
another
you're
thing.
right.
Like roguelikes, right? Rogue is not a
Roguelite and then
roguelike.
roguelike as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
God, I still get confused between
The game
roguelike
that made
and
the genre
roguelite.
isn't actually the genre.
Mm.
It's a great video. Go check it out.
Yeah.
That's confusion that comes up with pretty much any game that has the genre named after it. Souls-likes. What is a Souls-like? Well, it's something that has Souls-like combat. Okay, but what about the other features? No Rest for the Wicked. Is that a Souls-like? Well, it's an ARPG. Well, what's an ARPG? What's a Diablo-like? Well, it's also a God of War-like, and it's also this. It's like, oh,
And I've been playing quite a few Souls-like. I mean, pretty much becoming more of like a Soul streamer than anything at this point, but not really. No, but there is a lot.
Sorry, have you checked out the crab one yet?
I want to play it.
I've
very
heard it's
badly.
actually really, really good. Like, it's a joke
it's
game,
so
but like, a
charming.
joke game that takes the genre seriously. If that makes sense.
Because I spent 80 on Stellar Blade not too
Right.
long ago, I was
Right.
kind of like weighing it out. I'm like, do I want to spend another $30 on a game, on a similar game? And by the time I get around to it, are people even still gonna be interested? I'll be interested in it, and I'll still play it. But no, I do want to check that one out. And
That's
I
good.
have like a whole bunch of like Souls like, but there are a lot where like I played Thymesia. I can never say what the fuck. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Thymesia.
Thymesia, yeah. And it's like I'd say it's like a Souls like, but not really at the same time. So it's like it's so broad at this point, and
Yeah, like Thymesia is
know.
a Souls-like, but only if you play Dex characters.
Yeah,
if you
pretty
play
much.
like Strength or anything else, then you're like, oh no, it's all dodge and whatnot. So it's,
game's very short too.
it is. Yeah.
I would like to suggest an idea for the podcast.
Okay.
Every episode, we have to each think of a new name for the genre that is Souls-like.
Okay.
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 Right. We're gonna forget
Elden
this.
like.
Yeah. Bloodborne-esque.
Oh yeah, they
No,
were
there's
called
already
Souls.
Soulsborne.
They were
Right,
called
Soulsborne.
wait, there's
Soulsborne.
already
Yeah,
Soulsborne
there is
that
Soulsborne.
exists.
There is Soulsborne.
God damn.
Yep. It's a weird genre. A weird genre.
It is a silly place.
I think the last thing on the
It's
agenda
just a
then
silly place.
is to talk about everybody's favorite shopping company, Walmart.
Costco.
No, I'm
Oh.
afraid
Wally
not.
World. What's going on with Wally World, Brian?
So Walmart have previously had like experiences in Roblox, and they had to
Oh,
pull
God.
out because they didn't properly label them as like adver games, which is like games that are advertisements or advertisements within games. For those not familiar with Roblox, it's kind of like in a way what the Fortnite engine is, or maybe even Fortnite itself. You can make games within Roblox, and then those games are also games themselves.
Games and experiences.
Yeah, so it's for what. Well, for a better phrase, it's a metaverse, I suppose, if you want to use a buzzword.
No,
Like it's basically what Facebook want, and they're losing out to this company that are basically ripping off kids.
Child labor.
Yeah.
Wow, Zuckerberg's like, it's child labor again.
It's again.
God damn it.
So
Give me
Walmart,
a sweatshop on the phone now.
Walmart have come back with their I think it's technically their third attempt, and this time they're labeling everything properly. And they have this experience where there is like a laptop within their little Walmart game. And on this little digital laptop, you can access the Walmart website and actually purchase products from the Walmart website within this game. You do have to verify that you're over 13, and you have to do that with government ID, which is in itself kind of a weird thing to have to do. Obviously in a world of data privacy, but at the same time, it's at least some kind of protection. But yeah, so people are looking at it slightly like bombastic side eye, like, are you trying to get 13 and 14 and however year olds to buy shit from Walmart through a game? Like, I think that's a bit risky. I always find like microtransactions in games, especially ones that are specifically targeted at kids.
Is it a microtransaction if you can buy a fucking
Well, so
fridge?
because kids are the easier target. You just show them something shiny and they have mom's credit card.
Yeah, exactly. So that's more my concern. So yeah, what do you guys think? You think it's coming?
I think it's scummy. I have nephews, and I don't know if they like Roblox, but I know that they do not pay attention whatsoever to what's being advertised to them.
Yeah.
They see, especially the younger ones, and it does. In fact, it's very gross to me.
Yeah. And when you say
My
not pay
11-year-old
attention,
nephew
as
is
in they are not aware it's an advert and they end up like,
That's what I mean.
yeah, victims to it. Right.
I mean, the fact that they become so like, because they become so obsessive about certain like franchises, like I don't think they play Roblox. I know, but they went through like a Minecraft phase, and you know the amount of Minecraft shit that they owned, and it's like they didn't realize they were being advertised to. And we were kids at one point, and we didn't know when we were being advertised to.
Yeah.
We just saw shiny things. They watch a commercial, bright and colorful.
Do you remember
Yeah,
there
they
used to
don't know,
be a Oreo's
Transformer.
Transformer in one of the Transformer movies? The
Yes,
one
I
with
do.
Marky Mark in
And
it.
I remember
The one where he
there was,
drinks a Bud Light.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of advertising in the Transformer
and
games.
it's kind of like there was a law that was passed. So my mom so I have three older brothers, and my mom had this videotape of a show called Dino Riders when I was a kid that I used to watch all
Dino
the time.
Riders, let's go.
Dino Riders, yeah. But this was a VHS tape, like a licensed one that my mom bought for my brothers at one point, and I watched it, and they still had the commercials from the show when that would play before and after the show, or after the credits and during commercial breaks, and it was always conveniently right after the show ended. It would fade out, and it would show the toys and telling you where to go get them, and the kids playing it. And I, as a kid, I didn't know how old these videotapes were because I was, they were clearly not mine. But obviously, as a kid, I wanted one of those.
For younger
But
members of the audience, by the way, a VHS tape is a plastic cassette that you can put digital media on. Just to make us feel super old there.
It's just a really
Yeah.
big DVD.
There's a
big square.
Do you know what an 8-track is, kids?
Okay.
Do you know
that
what a
was
laser
the
disc
70s,
is?
bro. I don't even know what one of those is.
My mom had a laser disc player.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, no, but like there was a law that was passed in the States. I don't know about other places, but in the States that you can't do that anymore. They weren't allowed to do that anymore because it's kind of like what the Paul brothers were doing by
They
telling
could only
kids to buy
have
their
a
merch.
percentage of
Yes.
animation in it, and it mostly had to show the toy, so it was quite clear. it was
Yeah, there's a certain percentage that could be an advertisement, and but it was
that's
just fast.
the explosion of cartoons for kids because it was like, oh, this is a show. Yeah, we make toys of it.
Yeah,
but this
that's
is a show.
Hasbro. Like that's why Transformers exists. There was also Gem and the Holograms. There's so many things like buying a Barbie movie. Like that's advertising a Barbie doll to you.
Yeah.
Kids don't know when they're being advertised to.
Hell,
Like I
Star
remember
Wars.
also being. I remember as a kid. This was years ago. My mom went to. I don't know how she got these, or she bought them for us because we asked. But we had movies from McDonald's, like Halloween movies. They're animated. Ronald McDonald was in it. And I remember watching them a couple times, but like that's advertising McDonald's to you. Kids
Angry
don't know.
Birds. Fucking Angry Birds.
Yeah. Kids don't know. So when McDonald's, now I'm on McDonald's, when Walmart has like wasn't it, there was another one. Wait, there was with Fall Guys. Didn't Walmart try to get involved with like creating like costumes for Fall Guys?
I'm not aware of it, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Corporations have been making video games to sell this shit for ages.
Yeah, no.
Next quest.
Burger did it for. There's a lot like the Burger King ones are genuinely pretty funny though, but yeah, like it's scummy. It's very scummy. If they're when you're utilizing a franchise like Roblox, which is predominantly a young demographic. Like I'm not playing Roblox. You're not playing Roblox. I don't know. So when you're putting gear like cosmetics or whatever to buy Walmart related,
in this case, they're literally putting a real life store.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, so you go onto this laptop, so the laptop's in game, and then you access the Walmart website on this laptop. So the actual Walmart. Dude. Yeah, so you can literally buy like whatever you buy at Walmart.
I thought we were talking cosmetics. You were kids can buy. Because I know there's cosmetics at Roblox. That's so fucking gross.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Go on.
Peachy is about to give a nuanced take, so strap in. I need to disassemble this whole thing a bit to run you through my thought process here. So, first of all, metaverses are kind of cool intrinsically. That's why the idea will not go away. And it's kind of cool that someone is doing this. If you think about going into a brick and mortar store to then going on Amazon and buying stuff, right? That's a transition. I'm not saying it's the same, but it's in the same vein, right? What they've done is kind of shit because you just go into a room they've built and you just use the laptop to use the website. That's kind of lame. That is kind of lame. But the concept of putting on VR goggles or going into a game and going shopping is kind of just intrinsically cool. And that's something I would like to see explored.
It's also an accessibility feature.
Kids.
That's true. It is. But that's not why they're doing it. We all know. But also, here comes some nuance. I think parents should parent their kids a bit better. And do not advertise to kids that don't understand. That is scummy, for sure. But there is a barrier there that you need to be over 13. I think if you're starting to get in your teenagers, you're starting to learn some stuff. And you need to be taught by your parents, for sure. And even adults can be hoodwinked. I don't think it's that bad technically, but it will be misused and kids will just like go, oh, here's my
why would you the concept itself isn't the worst idea in the world, but why would you put it in Roblox of all things?
Because
that's where I'm.
Where else do you put that? You can't make your own metaverse. No one will go there. Like even Facebook can't make their own metaverse. No one will go there. Right? You need something that is there available for you to build that upon. And
utilizing a metaverse that is predominantly used by kids there is a lot morally wrong there.
Yes. I do
agree with you about parenting the kids and all of that. But
don't get me wrong, it is scummy and all they want to do is hoodwink children, but they're not allowed to do that. It is all labeled correctly. I was brought up by TV sometimes. I'm sure a lot of people who are my generation was the same. You don't get taught all the time everything that's happening to you, and you have to learn that through experience. But this is a new world that we've been living in since the fucking like 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. We need to be educating. So they're not being exploited.
Right.
I think that is very important, that you can't tell a corporation that you're doing it wrong because you're exploiting my kid because he doesn't understand. Like,
I think
it's
with the
not the corporate. First of all, corporations can fuck off, but it's not the corporation's job to educate your children. It is
no,
your job, but they are doing shitty stuff. But you need
I
to
think
bulwark
so.
against.
This is not going to be probably communicated